1st of July, at least in this part of the world, 2025. Lots of parts of the world, including the one where I grew up, it's already the 1st of August. And some, it's really well into the 1st of August, like New Zealand. I'm sure it's still it is the 21st of August because there's only 24 hours in the day, right? Yeah, it's the last day of the month, which means after today, we say au revoir, at least for the time being, to Reverend Ralph Fox. And I have not pre-read any of the August readings yet. I don't know who's going to do the August writing, the August daily guides. I don't know that yet, but we'll see. So why am I late? Well, life gets in the way, and sometimes family gets in the way. So we just spent a very nice dinner with one of our grandsons and his fiance. And it was kind of cool. It's in an Indian restaurant here in the Woodlands. He found it. It's pretty good. It's simple. It's a really simple one, but it's got some real Indian food in there. It's not kind of made up for the American cuisine. Well, they might have a few dishes for that, but some genuine Indian food in there. You know, even some Indian street dishes. So it's kind of cool. But I place time with family right up there at the top of the list. Commitments, yes, I know I got commitments. And I just really like spending time with family. I think it's kind of cool. And it sort of fits in with today's reading, which is about peace. Reverend Ron Fox has called this peace as a way of life. Okay, peace as a way of life. After every storm, there is a rainbow, no matter how long it takes to show up. After every storm, there's a rainbow, no matter how long it takes to show up. And you can kind of interpret that how you like. You know, after every event in life that is, shall we say, not considered what we would desire, there's going to be something good down the line. There always is. Whoops. First quote, and that was attributed to Grace v. Ohio. I should have looked up Grace v. Ohio before I got on here. I didn't. I apologize. After every storm, there is a rainbow, no matter how long it takes to show up. How about that? And Ernest Holmes is more down to earth and more pragmatic. In Words That Heal Today, on page 113, he says, the song of hate must be laid down if we are to sing a hymn of praise. In other words, we can't sing a hymn of praise to anything while we got hate in our hearts. So we have to get rid of the hate before we can truly praise anything. We can come up with the words, we can come up with facial expressions, but to be true about it, we have to put hate at one side in order to praise anything. And this is Reverend Ron Fox. He says, it's amazing to read about people who've lost everything and still attain a deep state of acceptance. We don't need to wait until we're in pain to make this discovery. We can decide right now to live from the inside out, from the positive out. And actually, as most of you know, the ones especially of you outside of this general area, outside of Texas, but you still know that we had this really major catastrophe a few weeks ago. And it was amazing when people were interviewed how they actually got a positive attitude on life. And I see this whenever there's been any major storm or catastrophe, there's always people out there who don't moan about what they've lost. They just know they're going to rebuild everything, and they know that help is going to come and help them do it. And that really takes a lot of courage. And I'm sure the reporters pick people out who are going to do this, but they're there right in the midst of disaster. There they are. And oftentimes they're helping out. I remember hearing about one guy from the fire departments in California who was fighting fires knowing that his own home was actually burning down, but he went out and he did his job and he hung in there. So I think that's really cool. This is a story. It's probably an urban legend, but it's got a good moral to it. Okay. Years ago, I read a story about a young man who applied for a job as a farmhand. When the farmer asked his qualifications, he replied, "I can sleep when the wind blows." The farmer wasn't sure what that meant, but he hired him anyway. A few nights later, there was a big storm. When the farmer went to check, everything was fastened down, locked up, or placed where it belonged. Through all this, the young man slept. Then the farmer understood. Because the young man had done his work when the skies were clear, he was prepared when the storm broke. Of course, the moral of the story is this: when we do our spiritual work, we too are prepared when life takes unpleasant turns. If we wait until difficult times come, it may be too late. Maybe. Even when there is turmoil in our outer world, we must cling to the peace in our inner world. The peace of spirit will get us through any storm, through any problems or any obstacles that pop up in our lives. When we face situations that cause us stress, Ernest Holmes advises us to repeat the passage from This Thing Called You. That was one of his publications. Quote, "I am submerged in peace. I'm surrounded by peace. I'm immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed." And if you want my honest opinion, that's a better affirmation than the ones we've been given. But the ones from Reverend Ron Ross are also equally good. But I just like this one. I'm submerged in peace. I'm surrounded by peace. I'm immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed. And I think if you meditate on that, you have to come into peace. Seriously, if you just meditate on that for a short while, you will come into peace. You know, it's one of those passages you can feel its effectiveness even before you try it out. At least that's my opinion. So, well, that's it for Reverend Ron Fox, except for his 300 affirmations. And here they are. No, it's actually 4, I think. As I look inward, my life unfolds smoothly. As I look inward, my life unfolds smoothly. I look past appearances and know that in spirit there is no stress, no tension, no distress. I look past appearances and I know that in spirit there is no stress, no tension, no distress. There is only peace and serenity, and my heart overflows with joy. There is only peace and serenity, and my heart overflows with joy. Well, despite the fact that I have sometimes disagreed on minor points, usually with Reverend Ron Fox, I think that this month's readings have been pretty good, and they would be worth revisiting. You know, they're straightforward, they're not preachy, which I really honestly don't like when people get preachy. I think these are intended to be uplifting, daily guides. They should be uplifting. I don't like it when people preach at us. And in future, I'm not going to say anything. If I find passages that are preachy, you won't hear me say anything about them in future, but you will get something in their place. And you may never even know you got something in their place. But Reverend Ron, thank you very much for taking the time to write the daily guides this month. I personally appreciate it. I hope everybody out there does. And let me see, tomorrow morning, 9:15-ish, Reverend Lisa, my colleague, on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page. And I will be back tomorrow, hopefully around about 5 o'clock, on whatever medium you tune into this. So until next time, from me, from Creative Life Spiritual Center, and from every person of good faith throughout the world, including yourselves, namaste.